What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And I'm here today to do a review of Top 5. It's Black History Month, and I'm still tackling some movies to help celebrate the month. So I wanted to tackle the writing directorial debut of Chris Rock. He's doing both, pulling double duty here. He's also starring. And before we get into it, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. I'm a blind film critic, and I just would love to carry an army full of people through the world right now to support audio description and accessibility as DEI programs are being slashed. Those are generally the same programs that support furthering accessibility and audio description for people like me. The whole reason why I'm here to talk about stuff like that. And for those who are new to my channel, who have stumbled on the top 5 video, if you're blind and you heard the word audio description, I'm a white film critic. I'm currently wearing a hoodie. I've got the hood up. It's a little chilly, even inside. It's a little chilly. I want to say it's like a grayish hoodie, but I'm blind, so, you know, I think it is. I've also got glasses on, so top 5, Chris Rock, Rosario Dawson, Gabrielle Union are sort of the top 3 of top 5. And beyond that, there's just a multitude of people of wonderful talent, hilarious people that stumble in and out of this movie. Kevin Hart, Cedric the Entertainer. Um, we've got Leslie Jones. I'm trying to think of who all was in this. There was the Adam Sandler, Jerry Seinfeld, Whoopi Goldberg scene that I remember really well, that trifecta. Um, we've got, God, there's a lot of people in this movie, and I'm forgetting all of them. Ben Vereen was in this. Luis Guzman. I looked in the credits through some of these just to pick up some of the names, and I noticed Greta Lee was in this. Now, Greta Lee, this was before Past Lives, years before Past Lives. This movie celebrated its 10th anniversary last year. So nobody knew who Greta Lee was, but it's funny that now you throw her name in there. And it's just like one more name for the road. Yeah, it's a pretty stacked cast. Annalee Ashford, like names are coming to me now. Anyway, I know there are more. JB Smoove, I'm going to keep thinking of a name every couple of seconds. So, it's about a comedian turned actor. Um, I know, it seems it's a stretch for Chris Rock. I don't know how he managed to pull that off. Who finds himself headed towards this wedding with this beautiful, sort of seeking attention. I don't want to use the term fame whore. I love Gabrielle Union, but she's kind of that. And she wants to have their wedding on her show, and he's debating about that, and whether or not to do that, whether or not to the wedding seems like her thing, and she's planning it, and he's a recovering alcoholic, and he sort of hit rock bottom and has been rebuilding his career. He made a string of shitty movies where he was dressed in a bear suit, and he kind of hates those, and he's trying to rebuild his career by doing films that matter. But people seem resistant to that. His newest film isn't even a comedy. It's a drama about a Haitian uprising. And he gets the opportunity to be interviewed by somebody from the New York Times, who ends up being this Chelsea, played by Rosario Dawson. And basically, the movie's a walk and talk. I mean, once they get together, it's a walk and talk with flashbacks. It's a walk and talk jumping to, other scenes in time. And it's this long interview that the two of them have where she gets to know more about him. And originally, he's resistant to doing an interview because the New York Times has a film critic that just keeps blasting him and it says some really nasty things about him and his films in the past. And, but here's Rosario Dawson. She seems to be like a legit critic, a legit journalist. And so let's see where things go. And some of his stories are hilarious. Some of his interactions are hilarious. The people who appear themselves do wonderful work. The people who appear only for obscene are hilarious. There's a lot of comedy that's thrown in here, and I like Top Five. I think it's smart. I think it's the kind of movie that Chris Rock makes because he wants to show people that he can do something like this. I'm just sad he hasn't done more of it. Like, at the end of the day, I don't know if Top Five is my favorite movie of his or my favorite movie of you know all time, but it's it's something that it's like, okay, I really want to see the next thing that you do that's like this. He has sort of a vibe that gives off his initial sort of like a Woody Allen vibe, where you're writing and directing essentially for yourself as a lead character. Otherwise, using Woody Allen vibes means something completely different. But that's what I mean by it. Is it's like writing and directing and then putting yourself in the lead in a role that isn't that big of a stretch for you, but also the film around you is really richly connected, full of all of these wonderful characters, and you're able to attract all this top talent, which Woody Allen films are always stacked full of these, huge casts of wonderful actors. So um, I kind of wish Chris Rock did more of that. He's definitely jumped in more and more into dramatic content, which is funny because Top Five talks about that. And he's jumped in more and more into serious work, like in television's Fargo, or even something like Spiral. That seems outside of his comfort zone, considering his body of work, but Spiral is very much outside of his comfort zone. So, not good, but outside of his comfort zone. So, um, yeah, he has really tried to stretch himself more into dramatic roles as he gets older and wiser, because why not? Adam Sandler is, they are contemporaries of each other. So if Adam can do drama and get critical praise for things like Uncut Gems, why can't Chris get critical praise for something like Fargo? So I get it. I I just think that there was a period between 2014 and now where I feel like there should have been at least three more of these, or like two more of these. Chris Rock, comedy esque reflections on life. One of the best gags in this movie is not in the audio description, and I remember it because Chris throws a jab at Tyler Perry by having in the background, there's this fake Tyler Perry movie, Boo. Medea Halloween is where this movie came from. He made a joke about it, and then like it manifested. Like Tyler Perry actually made the gag movie that Chris Rock was making fun of, and two of them. There are two Boos. So, yeah. I think Tyler thought it was an actual suggestion. I don't think he got the fact that it was making a joke of how ridiculous he's been, like what he's been doing with the character. And um but yeah, that was not in the audio description. I kept waiting for that scene and for them to just point it out, because it's so well known, because like it's rare that you see that where somebody's like, oh, I'm gonna make fun of this movie, and then all of a sudden somebody's gonna make that actual gag movie that you just, it happens occasionally. Like Tropic Thunder had a whole bunch of fake movies, but we didn't make any of them, like nobody was like, oh yeah, seems like a great movie idea. Of course, Thanksgiving was born out of Grindhouse, but yeah, not every movie. And Machete, I forgot Machete. I feel like Machete could have happened without it, though. Machete just felt like something that Robert Rodriguez needed to realize was a follow up to his, El Mariachi trilogy. But uh, I like Top Five. It's well written. It's funny. It's acted. It's smart. Um, there's some things that don't quite work for me, and it has to do with the romantic connections that Chris has with both the ladies. Like it's so funny and it's so smart and it's so biting that by the time he has to have we're asked to believe that there are these meaningful connections between either him and Gabrielle or him and Rosario. I didn't really feel that from either one of the characters, and that's the thing that misses for me every time I watch or rewatch Top Five. He has a lot of satire thrown in throughout. That's really funny, but he just didn't nail the emotional weight of those moments. Otherwise, I think the movie's great. Um, he has a clever little ending to it that suggests that he understood something that he set up earlier. He has a lot of, as a comedian, he knows how to set up a punchline, by planting something earlier in the in a sketch. If you're doing stand up, you say something earlier on and then you call back to it later on, and it's like the world's greatest punchline. And some of the best comedians can do it in ways that you wouldn't even think is going to pay off later on. Definitely, I've seen some of that stand up, and you're like 20 minutes later in the show, this little mundane comment that was made that you didn't think would get called back on was brought back, and it's like it tied that last 20 minutes together, and the first thing didn't even seem like it was going to be a thing, and that's kind of brilliant. So he kind of does that here. He takes like an offhand comment and then uses it, and then at the end of the movie brings relevance back to it. Another thing that I like just in general is the lady that's playing Rosario's mother in this, Olga Merediz, is she's Abuela from In the Heights, the original In the Heights movie, In the Heights musical, sorry. So kudos to casting, nice to see her there for a minute. So since she's barely in her own movie later on, she gets like most of her songs cut and is barely in the Heights. Thank you, John M. Chu, for your wisdom. Top Five. It's a good movie. I think you should check it out. It's sadly, I pulled this off of Netflix and it's leaving. So if you want to watch it with audio description, I don't know, you're gonna have to wait for it to come around again somewhere later. But this is proof of audio description. Sometimes I don't even acknowledge where I watch things because things move, and they may not move to a service that has audio description, may confuse you. I'm paying attention to my metrics. I have a decent amount of people who watch me that are not from this country. So your streaming services are wildly different, and what's on them is completely different. So we have streamers here that don't even exist over there, all those kind of things. But if you're in America, I literally, it was like last chance Netflix. I was like, oh God, this isn't going to help nobody except proof of Top Five and existing review of Top Five in celebration of Black History Month. So it's been great. It's been a great Black History Month. I'm finishing it on a writer-directorial Chris Rock. I was looking for some of those experiences, and I was kind of trying to shake it up with each pick as I was moving through the month. And I wanted to finish on something, and I saw this and I was like, oh, I was looking for something that had, like a black writer director type of thing that I haven't reviewed, and I was like, well, I guess I kind of meant like a drama, but Top Five fits the billing. So this is something that's completely creatively controlled by a singular person and a singular voice. So the audio description on it's pretty good. I mean, there are certain things that I thought were funny and certain jokes that it pointed out, but other jokes that I remember from having seen the movie from my pre-blindness days, yeah, like I was like, where's my Tyler Perry joke? Where is it? So, but like that, I thought the sex scene with Chris Rock and the two ladies, I thought that was really well described, and how that sort of evolves into a joke, yeah, I thought that was good. So it has moments. It has moments of grandeur, of greatness. Just a couple things just because I've seen and I was like, I know. And the funny thing is, it's one of those things that's in the background, so they don't like have a long conversation about it. Um, but it's funny and it actually manifested itself into reality. So I would have liked to have that joke in there. I know it's a little thing. It's a little. It doesn't mean anything, but top five. I'm gonna give top five a B plus. So I would have. I kind of wanted to see the next writer directorial semi autobiographical comedy from Chris Rock, and I didn't get that. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and remember, diversity, equity, inclusivity are not bad words. Inclusivity is to include. Why are we trying to exclude? And I'll see you guys on the other side.